move into some NBA contenders or pretenders to
Hell
see
yeah.
whether or not we're on the same page for what we think will happen. I guess I'll start off with this one. Kind of should be pretty basic. The both from Boston, the Boston Celtics, number 1 seed in the East. I think they're pretty much solidified as contenders, although there is just that one thing hanging over their head. Can Tatum and Brown be the best 2 players on championship team?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, definitely contenders. But at the same time, I need to see Jaylen Brown do well in the playoffs. It's like he's a different player in the playoffs.
We
And
saw that last year.
I same with Tatum. I mean, Tatum is so on and off. He's either having the best game of his life or he's not involved at all. So if they can work on that and kind of, stay a little more consistent during the playoffs, I think they're easily a championship team this year, especially given their record and how well they've been playing.
Yeah, they got to be able to finally get over that hump of this regular season. Again, just kind of, with that Warriors series where they were up 2-1, lost the next 3. And then last year with the Miami Heat coming back all the way down from 3-0 to tie the series up just to, I think they lost by like 20 points in game 7. So
yeah,
they've been on a path. They're like 7.5 games up on the second place team, but it's all about the playoffs for them really now. And
yeah, I'd almost rather them do a little bit worse during the regular season and then pick it up during the playoffs,
Yeah, maybe down the stretch, rest some guys like Kristaps Porzingis, who's been injury prone. Just let him rest because he's been a big reason why. He may have been your second best player so far this regular season, but he's been great for them. So, yeah. But
yeah, he's
definitely
been a great new addition. I mean, I definitely like him over Robert Williams.
Oh, yeah. He provides that offensive spark that Robert Williams couldn't. I guess then we'll move into the team that's the second seed. They were my pick to win the championship last year in a dark horse move, but they disappointed the Cleveland Cavaliers. The 2 seed this year, they have obviously Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland backcourt. That's one of the best. And then some interesting pieces in Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, who are kind of defensive stoppers in the front court. What would you say about this team being the second seed in the East? Can they make it to the ECF?
Which team did you just say? The Wolves?
The Cavaliers.
Oh, the Cavs.
We'll get to them later.
The Cavs, I mean, they're good. They've got a good team going, but I mean, every year they kind of like do good and then nothing really comes of it. So I'm sure they'll make it a little bit into the playoffs, but probably not too far. I don't really see them as a championship caliber team, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. I did a little side bet for them to win it again this year, kind of to $20 to win like 500, but they're a dark horse team, man. I think if they get the right matchups, I really think Evan Mobley's such an interesting piece because he's really good on defense, kind of learning his offensive game. But like if he was put on Tatum, wouldn't surprise me if Tatum struggled a couple of games because Tatum does that regardless. But it'll be interesting. But yeah, I would say they're kind of 50-50 for me. I don't really know until we get there, but I would say they got to prove it to me first because last year they lost to the New York Knicks in 5 games in the first round.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a 4 seed.
Yeah.
And probably one of the most controversial teams, kind of Boston's rival in the Eastern Conference over the past 4 to 5 years, the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard, we know, Dame Dalla, 3-point contest champion. Where would you sign on this?
Should be better than they are. I just don't know if they have the team chemistry yet to be the caliber that at least the team thought they would be. Mm-hmm. And Giannis is a good player, obviously, and Dame Lillard is obviously an elite player, but I'm just not really seeing it click the way it should,
Yeah, I'm thinking I'll give them credit. They have won 3 in a row.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about Damian Giannis in the playoffs. I'm worried about Doc Rivers and what he's gonna do because
they just added him too, right?
Yeah. He started off 3-7 as the coach, but then the All-Star break, maybe they work some things out because they're on a 3-game win streak while being some good teams like the Timberwolves.
You introduce a new coach to give him a little bit of time too. So.
Yeah, but even then, though, we've known Doc Rivers' playoff woes as a coach. Wouldn't surprise me if they were in the finals because Giannis has proven he's that great of a player. Wouldn't also surprise me if they lost first round if they got a matchup against the Pacers.
Yeah.
With that, then I guess we'll move into this team. What do you think about the Miami Heat sitting at the 5th seed? Where would they were the 8th seed last year and made the finals, so I'm not gonna say not contenders just based on seeding.
I would say they're more of a playoff team. At the same time, they lost a lot of their good playoff players, like those weird like
Max
guys. Yeah, like guys like what was it? It wasn't I forget his name. They had a bunch of like weird rookies and stuff.
The guy that really popped off that series was Caleb Martin. But I think I just don't know how to feel about them because believe it or not, Jimmy Butler's already 34 years old. So, but do they have one last run left in them with this kind of core? Maybe. That rookie Jaime Jaquez has been decent. But yeah, I don't know. So what's your final stance? Contender or pretender?
Definitely. I wouldn't count them out. So I'm going to go with contender on this one.
Yeah.
But maybe not as much of a contender as last year.
Yeah, fair enough. And then the 76ers, weird slump right now, mainly because we don't know when Joel Embiid's coming back. But with that being said, regardless, I'm going to go pretender because when Joel has played in the playoffs, he struggled. And if he's not healthy now, he's going to not be ready 100% for the playoffs. So I'm going to go.
He's an okay player. He played. He's how tall? He's probably one of the most massive dudes in the NBA, and he plays like he's 5'9", 150 pounds. I don't really see it with Embiid. I really don't see him as a leader, and I don't see him as somebody who could lead a team to a championship. So I'm going to go with pretender on this one.
Fair enough. And then let's go out west. I think there's a lot more intriguing teams. We know kind of the East. It's always been Milwaukee, Miami, Boston, really, for those 3 spots. Maybe the Cavaliers sneak in there. So the number 1 team in the Western Conference, I didn't even expect this as a Minnesota fan, but the Timberwolves have been pretty much the 1 seed throughout the regular season.
Mainly led by OKC right now.
Yeah, I just know. I think the Timberwolves have the tiebreaker due to whatever.
Oh, yeah, they do.
It is. So, what are your stance on the Timberwolves going into the playoffs this year?
They look good. I mean, I think they could have a run for it. We're gonna have to see how the playoffs play. I mean, for the rest of the season, how it'll play out. But I think they'll definitely make playoffs, and I can see them going. I'm not gonna say they're not a championship caliber team. I think they got a shot at it.
Oh, I like the respect. I was expecting something different, but I mean, I think with a guy like
they're Anthony bad. I don't like the Timberwolves. So I don't think they have a shot.
Yeah, but with a guy like Anthony Edwards, I think anything's possible because that dude's a stud. My only concerns is probably just his age. He's only 22.
Yeah,
and he's your best player. And the other concern is how does Carl Anthony Towns play in the playoffs for me? But
yeah,
something they can hang their hat on. Defense.
Like, I hope he doesn't have to play Tatum because I think that would be his downfall.
That'd be definitely debatable because we saw in both games they played this year, they actually went to OT. And I'll say in the second game we lost back-to-back game.
Are they not in the same division as the Nuggets?
Oh, they are in the same division as the Nuggets.
That's always going to be tough. I don't think they have. I don't know if they can beat the Nuggets, to be honest.
But Rudy Gobert on Jokic, and I think we got because Rudy Gobert is on his way to his 4th Defensive Player of the Year, which will be tied for the most ever in NBA history. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But speaking of that, Nuggets, I'd say contender. They're a 3 seed.
No doubt.
Yeah, they won it last year.
Not probably one of the top contenders.
Yeah. They're my favorite right now. When you win the championship, they're kind of coasting right now through the regular season, but they're still the 3 seed.
Yeah, Jokic knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Jamal Murray in the playoffs plays like prime Curry, so no big deal there. So you kind of both. That was an easy one. How about the Thunder though? The Thunder.
That's weird, man. I didn't expect them to play as well as they have. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Pretender because I mean they've had a good run, but I'm not really sold.
Yeah, I mean SGA's been a beast. I know he's been top 3 for MVP voting most of the year, but I just don't. Who's their backup to Chet Holmgren at center? Like I don't trust that
Exactly.
big depth.
And like Shy, like he's good, but like
I will
and
say they allow a little bit more contact in the playoffs, and he gets a lot of points at the free throw line. I think
yeah,
7 to 9 points come from the free throw line. So will that number go down to like 5 free throws instead of 9? You
I
know?
don't even think they'll finish as high as they are right now, to be honest.
Yeah, it'll be interesting though. They got him. J Dub has been great. Chet's been great as a rookie.
Oh yeah,
It will be interesting to see.
yeah, a lot of great players.
Then the next team, the Clippers, led by Kawhi Leonard, who's known as a playoff riser, James Harden, not so much, and Paul George, who's been good this year.
I mean, they're playing good. They got a good record. I think their players are good, but they're kind of old, and I don't know if they still have that drive like before. I mean, James Harden's never had that drive, but more of like the Kawhi Leonard. He's already won a championship. He's past his prime. Could they get it together and make it to the championship? Maybe, but I'm gonna go with Pretender here. I don't really think they have a shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with probably. The thing is, I like Kawhi so much. So if Kawhi's healthy, I'm gonna go Contender because I
Yeah.
just think if he's healthy and Paul George is healthy, that'll make the difference.
Another
If
old
Harden,
player.
if Harden doesn't go, if Harden doesn't have those 4 of 18 games, they'll be good. Norman Powell off the bench has been a beast for them, so it'll be interesting to see.
They
They're
could be
also
a threat if they're playing hard. I don't know.
exactly that's
I'm
how I
not
was.
sold on them.
And then kind of like some. Here's the one thing we won't do. I've seen a lot of people talk about the Warriors or Lakers. They are not. They're not good. Like I don't know why people still talk about them. They're at the
No.
bottom of the plane. They are ass.
Mediocre.
Like they are just mid. Like
Super
they've had
mid.
like people get excited.
Curry's like sitting out of games like they're number one in the league or something. Like, what are you doing?
If
Like get on the court, dude.
they like people say like, oh, the Warriors are hot right now. They're 3 games above 500. They're the 9th seed. Like that does not scare me. The Warriors are not. Clay's done. Draymond's just starting fights because he can't play with them.
Old washed. Yeah, no.
Yeah. And then kind of the Lakers are just mid. Like they're whatever. Like they got
I almost see the Lakers as more of a contender than the Warriors.
you could, but then they have D'Angelo Russell, who I personally just think isn't like he'll go on these streaks of like 15 games where like he plays great, and then the next 15 can't hit shit.
Yeah.
I think both are pretenders. I see a lot of people say their hot takes is they could see them going on a late run. It's
never doubt LeBron, bro.
It's legitimately marketing. I'm doubting them, man. I think I'm down with the Lakers.
We'll revisit this when it's Lakers, Celtics, in the championship.
Yeah, knowing that Lakers probably going on a run. Lakers, Warriors, WCF.
Lakers demolish the Timberwolves.
That would, if I did that, I'd do a apology video to all Lakers fans. With that being said, though, we kind of just got a couple teams left. How about the Suns? How do you feel about the Suns?
You know, I had high hopes for them last year, and they were looking pretty good, and they still look all right this season.
Yeah,
but I don't know, championship caliber. I'd need to see a lot out of Booker.
I would just say if they played the Nuggets, like how it's right now, they're already done. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm almost leaning towards pretender at this point.
They got to prove something more, mainly health, and then you got to prioritize, just winning
they're
games.
like the Mavericks to me. Like they're just
Kind
like,
of Mavericks are in the same boat for you.
yeah, like their record looks good. They got some good players, stand-up players, obviously, but am I like concerned about them as a Celtics fan? Like, no, not really.
Yeah, I would say the Mavericks would concern myself, just like as a Timberwolves fan, if that was a matchup, because Luke and Kyrie can do their mainly Luca, because Luca's been an MVP candidate. But yeah, I'd say they just don't have the enough like talent around them after that. Like, I mean, who's their third off? Like Tim Hardaway's solid off the bench, but it's just saying I don't trust going into like a playoff setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with that being said, is there any other teams you want, or do you think we got the good chunk of the teams that we think have a shot?
I mean, what happened with the whole Victor Wembanyama thing? I mean, let's look at his record.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a good rookie year, especially recently. Like he's been getting a lot of block. I mean, they've had him in second place in the year in defensive player odds. And I'm not saying he's not a good defender, but how do you
11 and 48 is a crazy record.
How do you give 11-48 team? How is one guy second for defensive player of the year? Like, what is he doing
on an 11 and 48 team? Yeah, exactly. What?
If he had a near, even slightly below 500 record, I'd respect it. But
people were talking about him like he was the second coming of Christ, and I just like LeBron would never sit on an 11 and 48 team. I'm sorry.
I agree in that sense, but I'll give the kid time. He's still 19. He's obviously
he'll be fine. I mean, the rest of the team is complete doo-doo. So I'll blame him.
That's what there are rumors that this offseason they might get Trae Young from the Hawks in a trade, which would be interesting to see.
The Hawks?
Well, like Trae Young from the Hawks would go to the Spurs to team with Victor.
He would hate that.
I don't know. That'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting team because they gotta get more pieces around him. Because he is a generational talent. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens down the stretch with these teams. But is there anything else you want to add?
If he gets defensive anything.
Oh no, I'm done. It's got to be Rudy's right now.
Yeah, it has to be.
Number one defense in the league.
I know they want to give it to him so bad, but
I'd rather give it to Derek White than like all due respect to Victor Wembanyama. You gotta give it to a guy that's contributing to a top overall defense and winning. Like that's just
How about Atlanta? What happened to them? Playoff team. They were a playoff team.
They were, but they rely so much on just the guard play of Javante Murray and Trae Young, and that's just not going to be.
And Trae Young's just not as elite as his other competitors in the league.
Yeah, and he can win you some games. Obviously, we saw, but they're just if you rely so much on that in the 3-point shooting to stay hot, you're just going to be middle of the pack, which is what they are. They're like the 9 or 10 seed in the East. They're going to be a play-in team probably.
Memphis too, just looking like trash.
Yeah, they've been one of the most disappointing. I know they dealt with a lot of injuries, but just kind of some like I don't know, just weird team. They kind of disappointed the last 2 years when they could have made some noise. It'll be interesting to see what they do this offseason. I don't really know if Marcus Smart's a good fit there.
Yeah. No, I think he was like strictly like a Celtic standard.
Yeah, maybe the Grizzlies should just bring him back.
It's like the Boston effect. It's like some players just play really well in Boston and then they leave and it's like they're just not the same player.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I don't blame you there. But is there anything else you want to add, or should we wrap this one up and then?
That's all I got.
Yeah, and then make sure if you guys like these videos to keep liking and subscribing, and we'll be posting throughout the off season for the NFL and as the playoffs wind up for the NBA. It's an exciting time in sports because free agency is one of the best times, and we're approaching that mark. So we'll make sure to keep you guys updated with new videos. But with that being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one.